How much money can you actually make in DeFi? Good question, let's find out.
Welcome to Dem DeFi Boys. None of this is financial advice.
So it really comes down to knowledge and risk. How much do you know and how much risk are you willing to take on? Like most things in life, the more you know, the more you can make. Let's go through some numbers. I aim for a conservative 5 to 15% ROI per month, and that's just fees. That's not including price appreciation of the assets themselves. That's about 60 to 180% ROI per year, and that's APR, so that doesn't mean that we're compounding those fees back in. There's a big difference between APR and APY. For this video, we're just going to be talking about APR, which means no compounding. So if I have $50,000 invested, I'm aiming to generate between 2.5K to 7.5K per month in fees alone. So that's just in yield. That doesn't even include taking profits from the actual positions themselves. It's all well and good to talk about what I aim for, but let's have a look at some receipts. Now this is hypothetically one of my wallets that's hypothetically been active for about 8 months now. You can see that the asset value is a bit under $14,000. Now that asset value has gone up and down with the market and with the underlying assets, but the figure that you're probably more interested in is how much I've generated from that capital itself. So you can see here that the total fees are above $21,000. That's a pretty good return on investment. Now, why is the total P&L or profit and loss so much less than the fees that I've generated? And that's mostly due to the underlying assets and the whole crypto market being on a pretty significant retracement since about March this year. So the fees that I've earned have significantly outpaced the underlying assets going down in value. So compare this to your portfolio at home. If you've been looking at your portfolio value going up and down with the market, but you haven't realized many of those gains, DeFi is a fantastic way to put those assets to work for you while still retaining exposure to those assets. For me, it's an absolute no-brainer. This is how DeFi has allowed me to quit a job that I really didn't want to be doing anymore and to think drastically differently about my lifestyle, including where I want to live, how much I want to work, and what I really want to do with my time. If you're sick of going to work and trading your time for money, DeFi could be a solution to your problems. Sounds pretty good, but wait, there's more. So like I said before, this is only considering the fees that I'm earning from those positions. So when those traders are making swaps in and out of the liquidity pools that I've contributed my assets to, they're paying a fee to do so, and I get my share of those fees. The profits that you saw on that portfolio that I shared did not include selling any of those assets. I held on to those assets that I contributed, and the fees that you saw before were on top of that. Now, why is this important to note? Because the whole crypto market cap has pulled back about 20% since March. So you can see here on this chart from the 14th of March to today, we've pulled back a bit over 20%. So most of those assets have pulled back a similar amount, if not more. So even though the fees that I've earned have outpaced that capital depreciation, what gets really exciting, those assets that are now worth less than when I entered those positions, I don't have to close that position until I'm in profit. I wait for the assets to appreciate back up, and then I can start taking profits from the fees and from the position itself by selling some of those assets. So what happens to our positions when the market starts breaking all-time highs? Well, the capital that we invested grows significantly, and so do the fees that we're earning as well. Because remember, it all comes back to the underlying assets, which are the assets that we're providing liquidity with and for. So conservatively, let's say the market doubles in value over the next 6 to 12 months. That's a very conservative estimate. That $50,000 that we put into DeFi is now worth $100,000. And that monthly yield that we're generating has also doubled. So that 2.5K to 7.5K is now worth 5K to $15,000 per month, which could be more than you're making in your job. But wait, there's even more. The yield that we're earning can be put to use to earn even more yield for us. So let's say conservatively, we're just going to work with that $2,500 per month figure. I've got many options with that. I can take that yield and I can pay myself with some of it. So I can pay my mortgage, I can pay my dentist bill, I can do whatever I need to do to keep the lights on. DeFi has replaced my income by doing so, but that's not all I do with the yield that I'm generating. I can also take some of those assets that I'm earning in my DeFi positions and put them into my long-term holdings to sell when they're worth significantly more. So my DeFi portfolio is funding my long-term portfolio. I can also take some of that yield, convert it into a stable coin or other assets as well, and I can lend them out to get further yield on top of that as well. So I can do that using a tool called XtraFi. more than happy to make a video walking through how to use XtraFi if you're interested. Another way that I can put that yield to work for me is by opening up new concentrated liquidity positions with the fees that I'm earning. And lastly, I don't typically do this much myself, but you can actually just compound those fees back into the original position. So the more we're compounding back into that position, the capital value grows and the yield that we're earning continues to grow as well. So if you're sick of looking at your crypto portfolio going up and down in value, but not actually seeing any of those gains, DeFi could be a solution for you. At the start of the video, I said that the more you know, the more you can make. These are some of the things that you need to know and some of the topics that we'll be covering on our channel. Number one is assets. How do you select the right assets to provide liquidity with and for? 2, security. How do you stay safe and secure in this space? 3, strategy. And more importantly, how to adapt your strategy to different market conditions. 4, tracking. How do you keep track of all of the yield that you're generating to make sure you understand how your portfolio is performing? Next is optimizing. What do you do with your yield to continually optimize the income that you're earning for yourself? And lastly, the mechanics. What are the right tools to use and how do you use them effectively? If you're interested in learning how we've become profitable in DeFi, like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below with suggestions for videos that you would like to see us create. Peace.